Wendell,
Yes.
welcome to Let's Talk Concerts. It's been a long time that we've been chatting back and forth. Allegedly, rumor has it, you have an epic story. How did you get involved in the concert business?
Well, a buddy of mine and I, we started going to shows. Well, I took some audio engineering courses at Central Piedmont in Charlotte,
What
so I got
year?
into audio. And but we would just go to shows to the clubs around Charlotte and tell them, we'll stagehand for you if you let us in for free.
Let me back you up. What
Okay.
year did you go to school for that?
It was 85.
85. Okay. And
My
how old were
senior year
you?
of high school.
Senior year in high school. So you're 17, 18,
18.
and you're living in where?
Charlotte,
You're living
North
in
Carolina.
Charlotte.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
And that's really how we got into it. And just well, what did it for me? I have to go back to 77. Okay, my mom took me to my very first concert, and it was I'm going to show my age now. It was Elvis,
Please.
and I'm sitting there, and you've seen Blues Brothers, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you know the his Jake's aha moment when he's in church when he goes, the band.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I describe it. Cause I'm watching all the stage techs running around, and I'm 11 years old now. I'm watching all the stage techs running around, and there's something this is what I want to do. And I looked at my mom and I said, when I grow up, that's what I'm going to do. And she goes, what, being a band? I said, no, but I'm going to be part of it. This is what I'm going to do. Now, fast forward almost 30 years later, I was working at House of Blues. Lisa Marie Presley came and did a show there, and I was the runner, they called it back then. I created my own my own job title. I decided to call myself the artist liaison.
Yeah.
Pretty way to say the band gopher.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but I got to tell her about that story, about how I saw her dad, and that was it. I decided that's what I'm going to do when I grow up, and there's no option B. That I'm going in the music business, and that's it.
And she was terrific.
She was sweet, nice, real nice, very friendly.
Yep.
Met a bunch of fans. She was really cool.
Yeah, she was great. So let me back you up a click, right? So what specific clubs were you going to?
Oh,
Hanging
13 Club, Park Elevator, the Milestone. Let's see, what else was in town then?
Was Ziggy's open back then?
No, not then. No, I do remember Ziggy's, but no, not. I don't think it was that open then.
Copy that. So what was your first actual job? Where they brought you in and gave you a financial transaction for your time in the entertainment business?
Well, I did audio for a lot of local bands back in like 85, 87.
Tell me about the bands.
Well, the first band I ever did audio for was a punk band, Anti-Scene. And I pretty much I owe them my whole career, because if it wasn't for them, I learned so much from them. And there was another guy in town, Al Forbes, ran Alpha Sound. He did a lot of stuff at the old Coliseum in Charlotte, and I started hanging out with him and watching him, and just I was hooked.
And how long were you with that punk band for?
About I think it was about 2 years maybe.
That's a good run. And where did you guys play around the state, and did you play out of state?
Oh, we did the whole East Coast.
Oh, great. And who was your booking agent?
Well, that's an interesting story. We got an offer from Showtime, and
I know who that is.
I think in one of your posts you mentioned John T-Tack, and I think,
Yep.
if I remember right, he was part of Showtime.
John was Southern Talent International out of Atlanta, out of Georgia.
Oh, okay, well, that wasn't him. I've heard
Showtime.
that so many times over the years.
Oh yeah, he was.
Like I said, some of these days are fuzzy. So
yeah, take that. A lot of shows ago. Yeah, John did so many back on the East Coast. Showtime was one of the fancy
Right.
booking agents.
One of my favorite places on the whole East Coast that we ever went to was oh yeah, now it's gone. Was in Baltimore, Hammerjacks.
Oh, great club.
I was there with just some little no name heavy metal band. This is back in the '80s. Now they were, the spandex, the big hair, all that. And Hammerjacks treated us like we were Led Zeppelin.
What was the band's name?
That was they were called Anthem.
Anthem.
Hmm.
Okay, and Anthem was most likely a Showtime band.
Well, they got an offer from Showtime, but there were so many stipulations that had to go through, and it was they. I told them that I don't know about this. And, there was so many stipulations, like you can only play certain places, and there was just a whole bunch of stipulations that just didn't add up.
Yeah, well, that was the thing about keeping their circuit tight, and that's what it was all about for them. So to jump back, so you were with that punk band about 2 years,
Hmm.
and what time did you make the switch to Anthem?
That was several years later. I'm trying to remember where I met him. I think they were opening for somebody, and I met him. We got to talking, and one thing led to another, and I was hooked up with them. But we had two guitar players, and it was just they were constantly fighting, and it became no fun. So I had to go.
How long were you with them for?
Maybe a year.
And how did they travel?
We had a conversion van and a mini school bus with a ramp on the back for our
Nice.
equipment truck.
Yeah, with all the gear in it. Yep. Dig that. Dig that. And so it was a 5-piece band. They had a lead singer.
Right.
Great. And where did you guys play in the Carolinas?
We played Rockies, almost all the places in Charlotte. Park Elevator, 1313 Club. Um, they got an opening slot for Foghat at the Palomino Club in Charlotte.
Good gig.
That was fun.
Did you guys play West Virginia at all?
No, I don't think so.
How about Georgia?
Um, God, it's been so long. We were somewhere in Atlanta. I can't remember the name of the club, but it was in Atlanta.
Nice, nice. And where did you jump to after that?
Well, I kind of got out of the business for a while, and I went back to school, went to college for a while, and that wasn't for me. Um, Moved to Myrtle Beach in '95, and House of Blues opened in '97.
Okay.
So I started there in '97. The place I was that they where they built it was about 5 minutes from where I was living. So I watched them build the place. I told all my friends, I said, I'm going to get that job. I'm going to work there. So bugged them half to death, and finally got they hired me the day before they opened as the runner.
Nice. Was Castaways still open in Myrtle Beach?
Oh wow, I don't think so. Boy, I haven't heard that one in a long time.
Yeah. So. Well, I don't forget the gigs where you carry the gear up the stairs. So.
Oh, been there, done that.
Yeah, in Castaways in Myrtle Beach, I remember the gear had to go up the stairs. I remember having an amplifier fire there, and I remember the chicks being really awesome. So those are 3 things to be memorable from a gig,
yeah.
So you got into House of Blues in the mid 90s.
97.
97. And what was your gig there?
I was the runner.
Great. What was your some more?
It had its perks because I met everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the weirdest thing you had to go out and get?
Well, I always look at the list, and it was Marilyn Manson was playing at the house, and I left the production office and I went downstairs, and I'm just checking the list before I left, and right in the middle it said vanilla flavored anal cream.
Oh. And now forever in my browser history, I've got to have that I typed in a search for vanilla flavored anal cream. Like, really?
No. No. So I went back upstairs, went back to the production office, and as soon as I opened up the door, the tour manager starts laughing. Before I even said a word, he's busts out laughing. I pointed at it, I said, "This is a joke, right?" He said, "Yeah, it's a joke." He said, "We just do that just to make sure the runner actually reads the list."
So you never went out and got
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Flavored was the word that scared me.
Yeah, you don't want to you don't want to mix that up. I've sent the
I don't
runner
know.
out for some shit in my lifetime, but that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And so how long were you there for at House of Blues?
10 years.
Good run.
From
Good
97
run.
to '07. It was a couple of months. Well, they got bought out by Live Nation.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, I mean, I went from, 70, 80 hours, sometimes 90 hours a week to 20, if I was lucky. It came down to the point where the band had to request that they have a runner.
Yep.
It had to be, if it wasn't in their rider, then, I wasn't on the schedule.
Think
But
that.
after a few years, bands came through, several times, and there was a few that actually, put on their rider that they specifically wanted me there, which made me feel good. made me look
Well,
good. Made me look good to corporate too.
well, the thing about being a runner in the days before you had that thing in your hand that had all the information on the planet, you had to know where to go to get shit. You
Oh
had
yeah,
to know how to source it out, and you had
yep.
to know how to do it within a time frame too. I don't have to drive across town for that. I can just go right over here and get it, or this and that. I know a guy from Cleveland who's a legendary runner that just goes out on the ultimate treasure hunts,
Oh yeah.
and brings back what the band needs, man.
Deftones. That's who it was. It was Deftones. One of the guys wanted a vegetable steamer. Okay, I figured no big deal. I'll go get that. And it turned into a quest trying to find the stupid vegetable steamer. And it took me half the day, but I finally found the stupid thing. What was funny though is when they first got there, um, I I came through the production door and my boss was standing there, was already in there, and I came in. It's the first time they've been there now, and the tour manager said, "Thank God you're here. We'll get something done today." Right in front of my boss. That was great. I mean, I couldn't have timed that any better.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. It's a tough gig, and I used to send the runner out for ridiculous shit, just because we just thought it was just such great sport to send somebody
Sure.
into some ghetto to go to some horrible adult triple X store and have to go walk to the counter and ask another human being while they're holding a piece of paper and go, yeah, I'm gonna need the best of ouch and I'm gonna need group fuck party time if you have it, the latest issue. I mean, just this ridiculous shit.
Another
Mostly,
thing on the list was of one vial of frog juice.
oh,
I'm like,
frog
what
juice.
the hell is that? And it turned out, you remember years ago, somebody out west somewhere, there's a certain breed of toad that if you lick it secretes this poison. I guess it's just like, tripping.
Nice.
And apparently somebody figured out how to process the stuff and they call it frog juice. And but that wasn't, I said, look, I can, give me a couple hours, I can find just about anything you want, but that I don't have a clue.
Yeah, the deeper question here is like, really, how many frogs do you have to lick in a lifetime before you get the good one, before you get the magic one?
And no thanks.
The magic.
I'll
Yeah.
pass.
Yeah, I mean, first you got to catch it. There's a lot involved in this.
Yeah,
Thank God,
exactly.
thank God for our ancestors that figured this out before us.
Well, I used to keep a notebook at home. If anybody would ask for something like, unusual, I just make a note of it in case, because chances are they're going to come back and they might want the same thing again.
Yeah,
So I kept a huge list.
did you have that happen to you?
Oh yeah, several times.
Nice, man. What other great memories do you have from House of Blues?
Many.
Wow, God, it would take hours. There was just times where I'm standing backstage thinking to myself, look what you're getting paid to do. You're getting paid to hang out with rock stars. And I don't get starstruck, because I've been in a long time. I don't get starstruck, but the one time that I was like, okay, wow, it was when Willie Nelson came.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he's a living legend,
Is that? Yep.
And when he came through the door, I happened to be standing by the stage. Sorry, by the stage door when he came in, and he said hi. I said, Mr. Nelson, it's an honor to have you here. And he shook my hand, and the man took time. He walked up on after he talked to me for a minute. He took the time to walk up on stage and met every one of our stage crew. And I mean, he didn't have to do that. That's Willie Nelson. Like I said, the man's a living legend,
Yep.
But he took the time to do that. I mean, that's the class act in my book.
Where did you go after House of Blues?
Well, after House of Blues closed, I actually got back on disability. So I'm like basically retired now.
Well, that's okay, because
I do miss it. I miss it so much.
I tell my friends of our retirement ages that you never do the last show. You only do your last show, and the machine moves on without us.
Yep.
It moves on. There are shows happening right now where I'm sitting here on my ass that have nothing to do with, never have anything to do with, didn't know about it happening. It's just what it is, but what's important is that we get the experience and you kind of try to enjoy it in the moment as much as possible. Is as difficult.
Oh, I loved it. I mean, I loved every minute of it. I mean, there was times where there was a few times where I had I kept what I called a shit list.
Yep.
When somebody would give me a hard time, I'd write that down. They come back, well, and if I couldn't find that either, couldn't find it. They get nothing because they treated me like shit the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I could say honestly that I did many years where I could not possibly give a shit about what was happening on stage. Even through some of the great shows that I was there for, but I wasn't watching it. I wasn't caring about it. I wasn't interested in it because I was tired. I was interested in what I'm doing tomorrow. When am I getting home? When are we getting out of here? What are we doing? When is the truck coming back here? What's up with the Teamsters? How are we going to get that cable back in? I mean, that's what the shit that I'm concerned about.
Well, I mean, you've done way bigger shows than I've ever done.
They're all shows.
My first real experience, and something I'll never forget, is I was working at another club in Charlotte years ago called Kidnappers, and 38 Special came the first time they came there, and the sound man and I got to talking, and he was taking a break, and one of the guys from 38 said, well, they're going back out in a couple of months. Would you be interested in hanging out and maybe learning something? Basically like an internship kind of thing. Here I am, 18 years old, right out of high school, and I'm going out on the road with 38 Special.
What year was that?
85.
Okay.
You couldn't tell me nothing.
Do you remember who was mixing?
His name was Ray. I don't remember his last name. His first name was Ray. Okay. And we went to Richmond, Richmond, Virginia, the Coliseum, and I'm standing there in the middle of the show. I'm standing kind of like behind him, just kind of watching everything. And he turns to me and looks. He says, "Come here." Okay, so I figured he's going to show me something. Now the band's playing. This middle of the show. 15. I don't forget how many people that place holds. Like 15, maybe 16,000 people. And he looked at me. He said, "Here, do it." I said, "Do what?" He said, "Just run it here. Do it." Now keep in mind, this is the middle of the show. Now I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. But I stood there, and I mean, my head swelled. I mean, like I said, you couldn't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
But
a friend of mine was their front of house mixer during their heyday, and it tells me that 38 Special took better care of their crew than just about anybody he's ever worked for.
I'm telling you, they were great. They were one of my. I mean, I've seen them so many times, and paid to go see them, and all of a sudden now here I am hanging out with them.
Yeah, and they were also epic partiers.
Oh yeah,
yeah, they were legendary partiers. Those guys had some good time. They had a lot of great hits too.
Oh yeah,
they had a lot of great hits.
I heard that that Donnie was ill. I don't think he's with him anymore.
Oh, I don't know. The truth
I saw
is
something about it on Facebook or something, but he was battling like something. I forgot. I can't remember what it was now.
The truth is, Wendell, is that most people that follow my Facebook page know more about more music than I do, because I don't read the books and I don't watch the documentaries. And if I wasn't there, I really don't know anything about it, you know. And even for the shows that I was there, I wasn't really there 100% because I'm focused on whatever is the next thing that we're doing and all the backstage whatevers that I have to deal with, that don't include anything on the deck.
Well, one of the coolest things that ever happened with House of Blues, it was the first week we were open. We had the Beach Boys,
Oh,
and
nice.
yeah, that was incredible. And the day after, I was living with my mom at the time, and it was the day after the Beach Boys show, and I came home from somewhere, and my mom said, "You're not going to believe who called you today looking for you." I said, "Who?" She said, "Mike Love from the Beach Boys." What? Why? What'd I do? What happened? What'd I do? But apparently he personally called me to say thank you for taking care of him.
Oh, that's nice, man.
Oh, boy, that was great.
That's nice. What band opened that venue?
It was the Blues Brothers, actually.
Okay, good choice.
Yeah, it was
Good
it was
choice.
Jim and John Goodman and Aykroyd.
That I bet that was a great show.
Oh, it was incredible. They had a bunch of guests. They had a bunch of people there. It was a well. They did we had a private grand opening the night before the public grand opening, and they played, and we had a ball.
Awesome. And what did they and who closed it?
Well, they're still open.
Oh, they're still open.
Oh yeah, they're still they don't have hardly any shows anymore. They have a lot of like tribute bands and stuff like that, which I can't stand.
I love tribute bands.
Really,
Love it.
I
You go see a tribute band, you're seeing a bunch of guys that want to be there. You're also seeing guys that are also fans.
no,
That if
that's
they
very
if they
right.
weren't fans, they wouldn't be playing it.
True.
And many times than not, you're gonna see a product that is a better heartfelt performance than the one that you're gonna get from the old rock star that doesn't give a fuck, that's got a mortgage payment to make, two alimonies behind him, and they're about to repossess his car.
Well, I rage on Facebook about Metallica all the time
Oh, as in,
because I saw them years ago. I saw the Master of Puppets tour,
oh, as did I.
and they were great. And in between every other song, Hetfield's ranting and raving about the bands that sell out and cut their hair, da, 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 da. And what did they do?
Well, the thing is that I'll give them is that no one did what they did, and no one did what they did for as long as they did, and are still
Okay.
fucking doing what they did.
Well, I got to admit now I've heard like 3 songs off the new album, and
Yeah,
it's almost like maybe they've gone back to their roots, because
yeah.
in my opinion, everything after Injustice for All just cookie cutter, just that.
And I didn't like Injustice for All.
Really.
Yeah, it's the album that I don't acknowledge or listen to, the baseless album.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just the guitar and the kick drum through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's okay too. Buddy, I have friends in that camp that have been there forever, and I mean, Metallica, but they know how to they treat their crew like nobody else, man.
Oh,
Like,
really? Well, that's good.
yeah, like I think at one point they bought every member of their crew a ranch in up in
Damn.
Montana. I mean, we're
Wow.
not we're not talking about like here's a watch. I mean, they take great care of their camp because their camp takes care of them. Metallica does not sound check ever, and they probably haven't been to a sound check in 30 years. They just show up, and it's exactly the way it's supposed to be every time, and they know that, and they depend on their guys for that because they also do a lot of shows. I mean, working for them is a tremendous time commitment.
Oh,
you
I'm
know
sure.
like working for any artist, you're no longer on your life schedule, you're on theirs,
There's exactly right. Yep.
which is why I don't work for artists. Because I'm not into that.
Right.
I mean, you could say the cool part, oh, the traveling with them and the this and that, well, and the better hotels and whatever, but surrendering the time, which is the only thing that really you have of value.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
You know.
But I really do miss it though. I mean, it's not the same anymore. I went to it's been a few months ago, but I went to House of Blues. A friend of mine came down from Charlotte, and we went to House of Blues. We went out on the deck, and they had a little band playing out there. And I'm sitting there, and I'm looking around for the soundboard. There's no soundboard. I look behind me, and there's a guy standing on the step running the sound from a tablet.
Yeah, baby. Absolutely.
And I knew right then I am a freaking dinosaur.
Yep.
I remember working on. I had a PV Mark IV board years ago.
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah, had the spring loaded reverb.
The PV Mark IV. Let me tell you, that console was so indestructible.
Totally, we put it through hell.
Yeah, I had a woman dump a pitcher of margarita into the console during the show, and I was able to take the screws out, flip that thing open, clean it out with rags, like mop out the inside of the console while the show was going on, and the console never went down. The console never went down. And, you know, you can't say that for you couldn't say that for a Midas.
Oh no, God no.
You know,
I'm sitting there and I would bump the board with my knee, and it would growl. And you know, of course, the lead singer didn't know. So, there's our sound man, Wendell.
yeah, soloing.
Solo. There's the solo.
Bringing his solo in. Yeah, no doubt. Well, Wendell, hit me up. What is your absolute favorite favorite story from your time at the House of Blues?
Oh boy, let's see. My favorite story.
Yep.
Probably hanging out with Rick Springfield.
Okay. So what year do you think that was?
That was 99, maybe.
Okay, and he came in with a full band.
Oh yeah, and he was great. We ended up hanging out, and after the show, he says, "Where can we get some fireworks?" Okay, I can go do that. So we ended up going down to the beach. We're shooting out fireworks right on the beach, which is totally illegal. And after a little while, a cop showed up. Oh boy, here we go. And of course, once he found out who it was, his attitude changed. Oh, okay, well, if you guys go about a mile down the road, you've got to see the limits, you go do it over there. I'm thinking, oh, we're going to jail.
Why should you get out of my jurisdiction? You kids can
I don't have to deal with it. But it was a ball. I mean, it was probably, without a doubt, it was the coolest job I ever had.
Awesome.
I mean, I got paid to hang out with rock stars.
Yeah, well, bro, listen, I appreciate you sharing that, man. Wendell, appreciate you coming on, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you taking the time out and telling us those great stories, man. That was really awesome, man.
Like I said in some of my posts to you, I said I feel like I'm way out of my league talking to you.
Gig's a gig, man. A gig's a gig, man. Great meeting you. Great having you, Wendell. Thanks again, man. Have a great day, brother.
All right, you too, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, man. Be well.